Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Box of the Technical Trader at techtrader.com. It's Saturday, May the 11th. It's time for the weekend webinar. Pretty strong week in general for the markets and a nice snapback. But when you look at some of the patterns that I'm showing you, where you're seeing rising wedges, which sometimes can be bearish, especially when they rise up to a resistance level. If you take a look at the S&P, we had a distinct breakout in the last 5-6 days as the S&P reversed from just around 5,011. I got up to 52.39 for 228 points in the last 6 sessions, 7 sessions actually. And so what I'm talking about is this is a rising wedge, and sometimes these wedges mean that the buying pressure and selling pressure come to a point where they are equal. And if the sellers take over, and especially at a resistance level, which could happen, we could get a little bit of a pullback. But a breakout here could be powerful as well, and could lead to an angle that takes us up in that 53.85 range. At least that's a projection I have if we hit that channel top. But, it's a long way to go to discuss that. Well, let's just say this. For now, I'm looking to see if next week, if there is a pullback, that the S&P holds around 51.90. If we do that, we could, get that push to the upside. The Nasdaq 100, similar pattern, coming up to key resistance level, all-time highs. And that high was 18,464 near 5. So we're about 300 points away. And of course, Nasdaq can do that in one day. But if that fails here, the area we're looking to see if we hold will be the gap area. That would be 17,785. So we do have about, let's say, weeks. The low was 18,094. So it's a couple of minor support levels that we're going to be keeping an eye on. What are the transportations and small caps doing? Well, the transportation index, which had broken a topping pattern, because this looks like a left shoulder head, right shoulder, or a triple top. Either way, it broke here, snapped back, made a lower low, and then snapped back again to form a wedge. Again, the wedge looks like it could be a 1-2. If we don't pop through and retest those highs, we take them out. And this rollover could take you down there, which could lead the market even lower. So and right now it's a very tough call. The market is a bit extended, but not overbought too much. We'll have to look at the oscillators a little bit later. Now the small cap indexes broke through the declining top line, the parallel channel, with a breakaway a week ago Friday, and then the problem is on Friday it ran right up to this resistance that I draw on here and reversed. So we're going to watch next week to see whether they can hold around the 200, 202 level. Actual support is 200, 201. Put that line in for you. For me, the small caps really want to hold ideally on the pullback right there. This would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get a fifth wave up there. Maybe. If it breaks down there, it won't be pretty. So we have things to watch next week, and I'll keep you posted as we go. So let's look at the underlying indicators. The McClellan oscillator got up to plus 120, 139. That's the most overbought indicator we've seen since back here in December. So it's the highest reading of the year on Friday before it reversed. Now, almost 140 down to closing at 85, plus 85. So it was actually down 27 on the day. So pulling back from possible, at least an overbought zone, but not necessarily extremely overbought, where we've seen plus 180 to 220. I reserve judgment on that one. And what about the percentage of stocks trading above their 40-day moving average? It remains a little bit more than half. So it isn't exactly a rip-roaring market rally-wise in terms of the breadth, because only about half the stocks are participating above their 40. So that's something to be watched. Whether that deteriorates or gets better. Look at the VIX. This is the lowest level we've seen since March, and in a zone that supported it and had sharp moves off of it. So this could be an indicator that we're at a level of apathy that the markets want to take the market down from. So I'm going to. Sometimes we tend to spend just too much time focusing on the market when we have individual stocks that every day pop and run, and our swings as well. So let's get to it. Before we do that, though, before we get to the main stocks, I want to go over the Nasdaq 100 components. Of course, Apple, which is not only Nasdaq but the S&P 500 major component, is very bullish. Why? Because we were in a declining channel for the last few months. Boy, it breakaway gap on the earnings report, obviously big. Now a wedge. I think that this is the key support level. 178 and a half-ish, give or take a little. And then a key is resistance of 187. The target would be 191 and 198.9 if it does break to the upside. That's a bullish pattern, however. Amazon obviously made a nominal new multi-year, but not all-time high, or maybe it was slightly all-time high. Let's look at this again. Here's 188, and there's 188 and change, and the high Friday was 191. So we did make a new all-time high this week on Amazon, coming right to that level. So Amazon could extend it. If it does extend, a couple of lines I'll be watching would be a move to about 198 and then maybe to 212. And on the downside, we want to see it hold first support, 188 and 3/4. I'm sorry, not 184 and 3/4. Right there. Google, seller, and now forming a wedge. If you break that wedge, there's a lot of clear sailing on this one. This too is all-time highs on Google. So Amazon and Google making new all-time highs. Not bad. What about NVDA? Outside the midway. Well, this too, similar to what the indices are showing, broke down for one day and snapped right back and ran up to what I would call somewhat of a resistance area from the declining tops line. It got up to 922 and backed off to 897. The low for the week was for Thursday's low, 882. So we're not that far from that. And a break on 882 would be a negative for the market in general since NVIDIA is a leader. So we have to see whether this is a flag and it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we break to the upside and the market explodes NVIDIA into the $1,000 range. Netflix did very well coming out of a very bearish pattern. When you break down and form a wedge like that, it's usually bearish. Instead, it went vertical. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 days in a row, had an inside day on the 7th, and then turned down on the 8th, slightly on Friday. Again, a lot. It would be very interesting to see whether it pulls back and tests the support zone, which right now is 575.80. The all-time high was 704, but this high is 639. Let me show you. Way back here, 704. So, but in the last couple of years, this stock has been a really solid contender. I'm not liking any rally that I see like this with those kind of technicals. So I'm just being, when I see these patterns, in the back of my mind, I'm bothered by what I'm seeing. Yes, this is a gap fill, and yes, it looks pretty good, but underlying technicals, not especially good. So we'll just have to look at the money stream and balance of power. This is bothersome to me. So careful on Netflix. I'd say careful on Meta too. Why? Look at its rising wedge to resistance, filling that gap. Again, the same kind of technicals. Meta and Netflix just bothersome to me. And I'm not totally keen on some of the others as well. Let's quickly look at Tesla. And you'll see that after pumping in the last 2 weeks, it's been nothing but down from 198 all the way back down to 167. The key support's right there at 157. And there is some minor support at the moving averages. And also, when a stock breaks a trend line like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, it spikes up with a breakaway gap and a running gap, pulls back to the declining top line. This is support. It cannot go much lower than that. And a breakdown below 158 would be very negative for the market and for Tesla in particular. So you can see it's kind of a mixed picture. You would think you'd have some better performances, but just a quick look again. Here's Tesla. Now, on the plus side of Tesla, let me just say that after 5 waves down and a run up and a pullback, you might see a left shoulder, head, and right shoulder forming. So any move up to 200, 205 would make Tesla flying, I think. But in general, if it fails, it won't be good. You may want to expand the pattern to look a little like this. If that's the case, there's your down channel. And if this is a failure and Tesla comes down, we could be down to 100.25. No kidding. No kidding. So Tesla's not out of the woods by any means. And then you have, again, Meta up to resistance. Netflix a little bit above resistance, but with those technicals, I'm bothered. NVIDIA, same thing, rising wedge to resistance. The market has an opportunity to absolutely explode here or roll over and die. This is a really critical time in the market, in my opinion. Google, same thing. It's wedging. Will it break out or down? The odds favor the breakout, but we'll see. Amazon up to resistance as well, making a nominal new high, though. It's one of the stronger ones. And Apple breaking out with a wedge, not a bad pattern. But we'll see if that is as meaningful as it looks. Okay, in terms of the ETS we follow closely, here's a look at the semiconductors, the SMH. Broke through, sitting there on Friday in particular, made a new multi-week high. Let's just say that I'm now looking at this level as resistance for the SMH. And that would be about 231. We got up above 231, it's breakout time. If it turns out that this is a rising wedge again, it's like a falling wedge snaps back, so rising wedge tend to back off. If it pops out above that zone, then the whole market goes ballistic, in my opinion. Let's take a look at biotechs. Biotechs have been lagging, and I'm not happy with this pattern. We have a downtrend, a run up to resistance, and a pullback. Again, it could be a bottoming pattern. It could also turn into something much worse if you step back and look at this overall pattern. It's possible this is a left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder is forming. That won't augur well for the market. Now, on the plus side, the opposite is happening in financial world. Banks, etc., financial stocks look pretty darn good in here. Long run up, peak bottom with a right-hand extension and breakout. And you can see, although it's not a new all-time high, if we get above 113, banks could lead the way. So again, in essence, we have positive breakout and run up on FAS, financials, but not so positive biotechs. And the SMH, bullish, but not broken out above key resistance yet. You're approaching that area. So these are the things you want to watch next week. I did want to also jump back and show you the VIX. I think I may have shown you that. Yeah, up close, because I want you to see how right on this support level it is here, which isn't necessarily good for the market. All right, lots of stocks to talk about today, but we have a few more ETFs to show you. In the gold sector, I got to tell you that even though I wasn't keen on gold for a long time, this move up, breakout, and then pullback consolidation with the breakout Thursday and a run up to the highs before a pullback on Friday indicates to me that GDX gets above Friday's high, which would be above 36-ish. It could run into the 40, 43 range, 40, 42, something like that for starters. And so we're watching those carefully. NUGT, a little different, but you can see, again, up against resistance, and the next target on NUGT is 51.2. JNUG as well. Similar patterns. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave could take you higher. I would say a target be 49 to 52. That zone up there. So gold looking better. Silver as well. AGQ. 1, 2, 3, 4. Deep 4, but it came right down to in this range near those highs and bounced. So my longer term projection would be for this one to get up to about 40. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, right about 44.5. So I'm liking silver even better than gold, quite frankly. There's so many individual stocks in the silver group, but we'll get to a couple of them a little later, particularly the leaders. And SIL is another. SLV is yet another. See that they're all pressing up near key resistance. So that's it for me on the ETFs, except for one of the covered oil. A USO, not looking very good. It actually broke a channel. UCO, same thing. We break down and we got a little bear flag forming. So I'm not high on oil at all right now. And SCO, the ETF, the bear ETF. So you see it's emerging with a flag in here. This one gets over Thursday's high, in my opinion, above 17.1520, and or it takes out that declining top line. We can see this movement to the high teens, maybe 1920. Okay, a lot of stocks to cover as usual. Let's do it. Starting off with ACIC. This insurance company has been phenomenal for about a year and a half now. It's gone from literally from, check this out, folks, about 29 cents to $14. Then it's forming a quell, but look at that action on Friday. So I'm thinking this is not done yet. And my projection is high teens, maybe 17, 18. ADMA also broke out Friday in a very strong surge, really big volume, 12 million shares for that stock. And looking at the long-term pattern, there's, I think, room to run up into that 10, 11 range. AEM, this is one of the premier gold miners. It's another reason why I'm high on the gold sector. Very good momentum. Wouldn't be surprised to see mid-70s on that one. AEO in the retail sector, American Eagle Outfitters, what a beautiful rising channel. Been consolidating in here, now flagging right there. Also forming sort of a wedge pattern that if it breaks out above 26 could be 30. AEYE doesn't get much stronger than that, but it reached a channel top and backed off in a nice orderly pullback falling wedge. Now, can it hold there and go again? If it does, 25 target. AGBA, explosive breakaway gap, pop wedge, pop coil. We break out of here, you're going to get a fifth wave up to the 5.5, 7 range. AGX in the construction group, engineering construction. Beautiful breakout of flag, explosive breakaway gap, another coil or flag pattern. Breakout and run. Target 69. ALAR, beautiful rising channel, and has been in one since January. It's been a big year for it. But look at the last couple of years. Here's a stock that was trading at $1.50 March of last year. And in 14 months has gone from $1.46 to tag a week ago 31 and change. So, I mean, we're talking 20-fold increase, and yet, do you see any top here? No, this looks like it's still trending into the 40s potentially. ALXO, nice chart. Long-term downtrend for this biotech. Reversal, breakaway gap, wedge, pop, pullback, test. Test key, support. Create a new trend line. Pop and flag. And here, I would look for a move to 21.5 and then 27.8. ANF, beautiful retailer. Long-term rising channel. Since last May, that's 1 year now. How about 22 to 140? That's nearly 18-fold, and yet, after consolidating, it looks like it's breaking out again. The key is going to be this pullback low, support 108.9, target 150. APP11, one of our old swings, broke out, wedged, and from that level in the mid-50s has gone to the high 80s. In particular, Thursday, big day, where it reached 88.5 and backed off. The channel top says this is $95 to a $98 stock. ARQ, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, and then pop, pullback, retest, breakout, run up. Very, very strong, solid rising pattern. It may need to pull back or consolidate for a little bit longer, but to me, I think the target's 12. ASC breaks out of it's a shipping stock. Boy, the shipping group is very strong. Base breakout, a flag or sideways range consolidation, and then a really explosive move in the last week and a half. This one just went from 15 to 21 in the last week and a half and breaking out of key resistance. For me, this might be in the mid to high 20s. Aspen aerogels just broke out of a consolidation in the last week and a half, and it's a beautiful rising channel. This is very strong. Looking for 30-32. AU in the gold sector, one of my favorite golds at a tech trader swing, continues to look good, and I got to tell you, if it gets out above Friday's high, 25.5 or thereabout. You could see 29.5 or more. BLBD, how about that explosive move on Thursday? And now it looks to me like the long-term pattern could kick in, taking this stock into the $60 range. BNTC breaking out of a base from the flag, popped and wedging now. My target is 11.5. Boston Scientific is a powerhouse. It's been like that for a couple of years now. You can see the long base, breakout, consolidation, and run up. Hard to say what the momentum takes this to, but I would look for 77 and 82. In the banking sector, Citigroup is as strong as it gets. You can see the rising channel is calling for a move to the $70 range. Nice, really nice chart. Kava and the restaurant group, pop breakout here above the base, wedge, run, retest. Run up again, wedge, and then break out. Based on this alone, looking for 90. CCJ, and this is the leading purveyor of uranium. It reversed on Friday, but it made a nominal new high at 53.17. I'm looking for 56.5 and 65. CDNA broke out Friday. We put a swing on it because it went through a quadruple top. And from that point, it went up another point. So it's looking much better here. My targets were 16, 18, and 21. I'll keep those for now. Good momentum. Seco Environmental, nice chart long term. This is one of those stocks that has a channel within a channel, and usually runs upper or lower. So it ran in the upper and then the lower, and it's still in the lower channel. Should it accelerate through that because in mid-40s? But for now, I would look for 29.30. CGC, explosive move, pullback, another explosive move, pullback. So basically, it's shorting a 1, 2, 3, 4, but it has to hold around the 8 3/4 range. Your next target would be 14 and 18. CGEM broke out. We put a swing on it. It backed off a little bit, but held support, and then boom, what a move. The last couple of weeks been consolidating and flagging. I have a hot target at 38. CLS, great long-term chart. Currently consolidating near a breakout. If it does, looking for mid-60s. Koya, as you know, we've been following this stock since it was a $4 stock. It ran up to 11. I think it was 10.60. 1069, and it's a nice orderly retrace back to support and channel. Needs to hold here though. I don't want it under 785 or so, but a move over 9.5 with volume could get this moving into the mid-teens. Kupang, pop, falling wedge, another pop, and another wedge or flag. It's a 4-wave move. Looking for a 5th wave to 27.8. CRNT disappointed as it pulled back to support. I had to widen the channel, but when you look at and draw the lines properly, it wasn't too bad a move. The stop is under 260. The target's 3.5, 4.25, and then we'll see where it goes from there. On a long-term basis, you can see the base breakout. Looking for 7. Kinetics popped and pulled back. We put a swing on it. It's been very good since then. It's moved from the mid-20s into the high 40s. Actually tagged 51. The channel top target is now high 50s. Cateo, breakaway gap, wedge, and then stair step your way higher. Coming through a triple top. This looks higher to me, 40 and 47 targets. Carvana has gone literally from, get this, under 4 January of 23. It's a year and a half ago. But from under 4 to 129, pretty amazing. And yet, this looks like a little pennant. I don't know if it's done yet. Obviously, we don't want this under 111, but the target's 133, 135. Dell, we put a swing on Dell here back in September. I think it was 59 3/4. It's more than doubled. It's continuing to look good. Falling wedge, flag, run up, and it's near the all-time high. I think this could go to 150 or better. DraftKings been a swing of ours since it popped out. I believe it was in here in May of last year. I think we reiterated the swing there. Look at the way the stock has been long-term. And if this is a consolidation, it breaks out, we're looking for 57. If it breaks down, it stops under 40. EBS, Emergent Bio, breakaway gap. After a falling wedge, it's exploded. Now it's got a really nice pattern that tells me we may go higher. My target is 5.5 and 7. Look at this chart. ELYM in the last 2 weeks has gone vertical from 332 to 1155. It basically quadrupled, nearly. Call it 3.5 times its value, and now it's wedging. If it holds around here, your next target is 14. ERJ, this is the South American aircraft manufacturer. Finally comes out of a base, coils, pops, falling wedge. This very strong looking pattern. We get above here, 33 target. Etwo broke out of a coil, and we put a swing on it. I believe I'm going to have to double check that. But this is a beautiful flag in here. We popped that range. I'm looking for 5 3/4, 6 3/4, and 7 3/4. EVER, just a beautiful rising channel, and it's in a pattern that tells me if it doesn't break down and takes that out, 30.31 is your target. FCX, copper stock, how about that chart? Beautiful base, breakout, ascending bull wedge, that would be right here. Next target, 57.8. FRO, shipping stocks are strong. Look at front line. It says oil and gas mainstream. This is mainly I believe, a oil and gas shipper. I could be wrong. Either way, though, great chart. Looking for 30 and 35. In the silver group, Fortuna Silver Mines is now at the highest level in 2.5 years, coming out of a base. Some key resistance just above here. Target is 6 1/4 and 8. FTAI monster chart, 14 3/4 to 80. It still looks higher to me. It's a $100 stock, I think. GCT, after a big run up and a pullback, is now wedging. May have popped out twice here. I think the key is, can we get this above 41.5? It could just run after that. GDX, we showed you earlier, that's a gold ETF. Geo, it's time to sell Geo, folks. I gave you the swing back in here and in the 7 3/4 range. It doubled over 16. And then got hammered last week, and that's a bear wedge. I would avoid the stock for now. GNK, another shipper that looks fabulous. Base, breakout, retest, and then stair step your way higher, flag in there, and run up again. Looking for 26.7. GOGL is another shipper, looking for high teens. GVA in a construction group, breaks out of a base, retests, pops, flags, and goes. Target 70. HMY in a silver group, V bottom, little inverse head and shoulders, whatever you want to call it. Massive one here. Break out there, consolidate, pop, and run. A little extended short term. I'd like to see a pullback, but your eventual target is 12. IAG in the gold group as well. Similar long-term inverse head and shoulders. I got a target now up here at 5 1/4, maybe 7. IBRX, beautiful little wedge after breaking out with big volume. Keep an eye on this one next week. This could fly. I would not be shocked to see this one make a run into the mid-teens. Jeremiah Flyer, it might be. It popped and broke out and ran. It was up for 5, 6 days in a row, and then it pulled back. I still like the look of this overall. Ideally, it holds or fills the gap and then goes again, target 8. Louisiana Pacific, I want to show you this pattern. Long-term, multi-year base. Breakout, retest, and an explosive breakaway gap with a nice 2-day flag. Looks to me like this stock has room to run. This is a 30-year high. Not going to be shocked to see this quality building materials company make a bigger move into the mid-120s. ML is the tech trader swing, and one of my institutional clients' favorite new stocks. He thinks it's a home run. He's over 150. I don't see any reason why I can't do that. Especially, keep an eye on it. If it takes out 87, it's good to fly. 3M, new CEO and a decent earnings report. Stock reversed and inverse head and shoulders, broke out there. I think this one goes to 111. That's my next target. MRNA broke through multiple tops and backed off. If it holds that zone, my target's 140. Micron with a breakaway gap, a pullback wedge, very strong long-term chart. Take a look at that. Isn't that amazing? Long term, I could say this stock's going to be 200 or better. Muller Water, multiple tops being broken on a breakaway gap. I think the stock goes to the mid-20s. NetOx, could that be breaking out? It looks like it took out this declining tops line late last week. It picks up any volume, it could run into the 12 and 14 range. NRG continues to power ahead. This independent power producer, just flying from 30 to 83. Long term, this is a new all-time high, and it's overbought. But the momentum is phenomenal. Let's see if we can get this up to 90 short term. Nutanix, as you know, one of my all-time favorites. A swing we gave you back in here in September, I think it was in the 30s, has made it to the high 60s. It actually tagged 71 on Friday. My target is going to be 85 eventually. In TRA, a tech trader swing when it broke out here. Took a while, but look at that move on Friday. It did back off, but it reached 115.75. My target, 127. And Novavax with an explosive move on Friday, and then a pullback. I decided to put a swing on it. I think it's going to make a higher move, but that was just too much, too far, too fast. How about 4 to 14 in one day? 200 million shares. Usually you don't break out like that with that kind of volume if it's going to be less than a major move. ORN, engineering construction, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's popping out. I'm looking for a move to 12. Oscar, as you know, is a tech trader swing. After breaking out here, we put another swing on it. It's been moving nicely. It reached 2268. But you can see the long-term inverse head and shoulder breakout and rising channel. It's near the top of that channel. But the way I calculated it might be mid-20s before it's over. And then it would need to consolidate and move higher. But I can see mid-20s and then 29.30. Oust broke out Friday, coming out of a base and pulling back, and then smoked it. My target is 21. Pan American Silver, that's the silver purveyor I was telling you about. Between Pan American Silver and Wheaton Precious Metals, the top two companies in the industry. That pattern and this pattern, pretty powerful moves in silver. That's why I like silver better than gold right now, quite frankly. PAYS and a strong rising channel. You can see it's coming out of a base that could, and this is one time a much bigger stock. I would not be shocked to see the next target on this one be upwards of $10. On a short-term basis, I would look for 5.5, 6. Impinj, one of our tech trader best trades of the year. From November, when it was trading in the high 50s and that swing, it's moved to more than 100 points to 167. And I don't know how far they take this, but it's pretty powerful. It's at new all-time highs. POWI also with a pop coil, we put a swing on it, but it went nowhere and finally broke out in February, but went ballistic. Going from 76 to 197, 120 points here literally in 3 weeks. And then the pullback, a falling wedge, and the pop again. I think it's due for another move and extension to 2.5, 250. Prime Water breaks out of a base, flags, and explodes. Long-term basis, look at the breakout, the new all-time highs. Not quite. Not new all-time highs. My bad. Back in 04, a long time ago, 20 years ago, this was 33. So I would have to say I'm going to target mid-20s for starters. PSTG broke out of a base, pop, and wedged. I don't think this stock is done yet by any means. I'm looking for 60 and 65. REAL with a beautiful base pattern, breakout flag, and now it's moving again. This is the highest level we've seen on this one since June 22, something like that. So a 2-year high, and I would not be shocked to see this one make 7, 8, and 9. Rev Group, beautiful rising channel, and a spike up into the channel top. Now it has momentum. It could make 32, but it's a little extended overbought. RNA is one of our tech trader better swings. It popped and broke out. It just kept running. Look, this stock is now up against some resistance, but it gets through here. We're looking mid-30s, maybe low 40s. Best swing of the year, I would call Ruth my best pick of the year. It went from 14.75 to 85, and then this day, pre-market, it actually reached 97. It's pulled way back. You don't want to have the stock underneath 50, but it's an awfully volatile stock. If it consolidates nicely in this area, it may extend. If it does get above the 85 area, we go back to 97 as a target. SBLK is another shipper that looks to me like it's destined for high 20s. Great chart. A CCO and the copper group, one of the leading copper companies in the world, Southern Copper. Well, look at that big base breakout and run up. This could be 130, 40, 50. Seed had its week. Some positive news out of China, getting government approval for the GMO seeds. And the stock literally went from 332 to 606 in a couple days. Pretty good volume for that stock, not as much as we've seen before. I think the pullback into this gap here, right there, to fill that gap is maybe a buying opportunity. But it may need to do what it did here, consolidate for a bit, and then go up to the next target. I have $7 target. SFM long-term looks phenomenal. I'm not sure how far they take this one either, but it's extended. Momentum could take this, though, into the mid-80s. SG Sweet Greens with a big breakaway move, I believe, on earnings on Friday, breaks it out and targets 41. Shopify is on the short side. That broke down. I'll talk about it later. Skechers, currently one of my favorite companies. I love the shoes, by the way. I have about 5 pair. Not that anybody cares. This looks like a big 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a 2. This is wave 2, 3, and 4, and the fifth wave takes me to, I think, the mid-70s. SMTC breaks out and continues to extend. It's got a beautiful reversal pattern. In order to fill this gap, we need a little bit higher level into the mid-40s. SRTS, after a long, drop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, reverses, coils, and breaks out. At this point, I'm looking for a move, I think, to 7.5, 3/4. STNG, another shipping stock, Scorpio Tankers, oil and gas shipper. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave is underway and a very strong pattern. My target's 88 to 90. Teva, beautiful chart, major breakout and a nice run up. I'm targeting 18 and 19.5, 20. Tandem broke out, it's wedging. Now looking for 52. TOST broke out. I'm looking for an extension on this one too. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm looking for a fifth wave extension. It takes it into the 30 range. TPC, engineering construction firm, another one. Breakaway gap, wedge, run up, retest, pullback, create a new rising channel. Nice parallel one. So that gives me a target now for 22.3. ULBI pop, we put a swing on it. It ran up and pulled back, but boy, I'll tell you, this has real energy. For me, I think the stock goes to 17. Vico, even though it broke down here, it held secondary support there. So you have to readjust your channel. Looks a little bit like this now. I have a target of a low to mid 40s. Viking is after the explosive move we had in February. It's been coiling ever since. Now it tried to break out and didn't quite get it. And pulled back on Friday morning. On Friday, about what, almost 7 points. So careful here. It's on the platform. I really wanted to hold. If it breaks out, high 90s target. VRRM, look at this chart. 13 to 27, doubled. Channel angle tells me this could be 29.30. VRT, one of the strongest stocks on Wall Street, literally went from April of 23, less in about a year, from 12 to 95. And it continues to look powerful enough to say, I got a target of 110.15. VST is even stronger, if you can believe it, 21 to 94. A little short-term overbought with technicals that are less than exciting. Be careful. Western Digital, very strong. WDC in the computer systems and components manufacturer. Now in this kind of a rising channel, targeting 87, 88. Wells Fargo, along with Citibank and several other bankers, I just wanted to show you a couple of them. These two look really good. Look at the Wells Fargo breakout there. And now above multi-year highs. WGX, as strong as it gets. WGS is a new pick from one of my institutional clients who thinks this is just getting started. On a long-term basis, you can see where the stock was at one point. I don't think so. I think that's a reverse split. My target is going to be, let's get back to that daily chart. I'll show it to you. 28 and 35. Wheat and precious metals we showed you. Zeta is a tech traded swing that we picked right there when it broke out. In the 11-12 zone, it's gotten up to 16. It looks higher. This is new all-time highs. I'm looking for now 18 and 20. And lastly, Zim on the long side. Another shipping stock that broke out at secondary resistance, but I think your next targets are 22 and 25. Let's take a look at some shorts and finish up for today. Got a couple dozen of them for you. Adobe, which I give you as a tech trader swing short down here, and then again there is actually in a very negative looking downtrend. With some support here, breakdown from there, this stock could be all the way down to 390. Autodesk, I told you that head and shoulder top looked ugly. We gave you a tech trader swing short in the 247 range. It dropped down to 206 for 40 points, and now it's bear wedging. OMG, it looks bad. Next stop, 195. Akamai, breakdown bear flag. I showed you this as a tech trader swing short about 112. It's dropped down to 91. Met two of my targets. It's at the bottom of the channel. It may bounce, but ultimately we could see 82.3. AMN, that's rising wedge, was a bearish indication to me from 79 down to 55, and yet I don't think it's done. Friday was a breakdown. My target's now 48. AMR, this cold stock broke down and formed the bear flag. It's now breaking down again. My targets are 260 and 210. Biohaven, something new, broke its channel, formed the bear wedge. Friday it got slam dunked. It looks very negative to me. I think the next target would be about 27. I may put that as a swing short. BRZE, same thing. Big channel break here and a bear coil. Targeting 34. CAR, which we indicated was bearish after breaking this big topping pattern here, came down but has broken back up again. Not quite breaking out, so I want to keep a stop over 130.31. But if it holds that line, this is your declining tops line, right there, it rolls over. Looking for 80. CDW, top broke, rising wedge. That's a bear wedge. Low volume, not good technicals. Boy, if they break this one, they could break it down another 30, 40 points. CEIX, another coal stock, not quite as bearish, but you have to monitor whether it breaks to the downside. If it does, 68 target. CHKP broke down, snapped back, and got hammered on Friday. Watch this carefully below that line. I would look for 138. COR breaks down and forms a bear flag. I'm looking for this to break lower, 205. DoorDash got smacked and has a bear wedge as well. Careful on this one, it could get hammered. Not going to be surprised to see if it gets down to 95. Disney broke on last week, but this looks like a head and shoulders, doesn't it? It broke down, it's got a little bear wedge. It targets 98 and 91. ELF broke down, rallied to resistance. Now it's got another bear wedge, and we're coming down to 135 next. Fox Factory was a tech trader swing short in the high 60s. It made it down to 37.8, and now it's bouncing. Careful. GitLab breaking down for the breakaway gap and now forming some sort of bearish pattern and a down channel as well, that if it breaks below, say, 51, we could see the stock at 41. INFA is a long-term rising channel, breakdown wedge, breakdown and on support. Next target down if it cracks, 25. InMed broke down here, rising wedge and breaking down, and it's got a really negative long-term pattern. Target is 14. Light, a head and shoulder pattern broke down, it snapped back. There's your new declining channel. I think it can eventually make it to the mid-30s. MRVL looks like a head and shoulder top. Hasn't quite broken yet. Something we'll keep our eye on. And that's pretty much it for me, folks, for the Tech Trader Weekend webinar. You guys have a great weekend. I am out of town, as you know. I'll be on the desk Monday morning only, and then back, traveling Tuesday, unavailable all day, but I will be on the desk full time from Wednesday on. Sorry about that, but sometimes you got to take a vacation. Just sometimes. It's been very rare for me at all. In any case, please review this information. It's important for next week. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.